Hey everyone, welcome to Wild Woodland Lavender Farm. Today is the beginning of June and I have so much to do this month. I have plants and seeds to get in the ground. So I'm going to be pretty busy most every day this month. So I decided to do a 25 days on the farm series this month. I'm excluding Sabbaths because I don't work on Sabbath, so I don't want to be working in the garden, and I don't want to be making videos. And then this Sunday is my oldest son's graduation from high school, so I'm gonna take that day off too because we're gonna be busy with family and all that jazz party stuff. That's the whole weekend is a graduation weekend, but Sunday is the actual ceremony. So I think that's 30 days in July, so that's 5 days off, and we'll just kind of see if we can get this done. So for today, I first want to show you kind of some of the new stuff that I've gotten for the farm and found on the farm for the farm. So right here, I'm just sitting by our garage hobby room area here, and I have a bunch of plants here that are waiting to go into my tree guilds once I get them going. So I just wanted to show you some of the things there. So this right here is a rhododendron. It's a very common plant found in Oregon, especially on the western side where the climate is a little bit cooler, more mountainous. Rhododendrons really thrive in that climate. Here on the farm, on the eastern side of the state, we get really hot out here, so rhododendrons don't always do so good, but if we plant it in shade, they'll do better. But I love rhododendrons, having grown up on the western side of the state. This one is called the Mini Tonka. You can see it's got a lovely purple shade. So, gotta figure out where to plant that. I have an idea of where I'm gonna do it, but still working on that. I got here some raspberries. These are a Meeker raspberry. And they're supposed to only grow 24 to 48 inches tall, so it's not going to need, it's not a long vine that's going to need structure to, make sure it's not crawling all over the ground like I have issues with my other long vining raspberry plants. So I thought these would be a good fit. We'll give them a try out in the fruit guilds since they won't necessarily need anything to lean on or to be tied to or anything like that. If anything, maybe like the tomato cages, the round tomato cages we could put on those, but otherwise I don't think they'll need any help. Back over there that I've had since last year are some hardy kiwis. I have a male. I had two females, but one of the females died, so I have a male and a female. But then I also found this year at a local store the Isai kiwi, and this one is actually, the cold hardy kiwis don't have the fuzzy outside. The inside looks like a kiwi, but the outside is more smooth skinned. This one is actually a fuzzy kiwi, so it'll be fun to plant this out there. Also, two more plants that I grew up being around when I would hike in the Cascade Mountains on the western side of the state. Some of the berries that you would find out in the woods are thimbleberries and no, these are salmon berries and these are thimbleberries. So the thimbleberry is like, they're both kind of raspberry-like fruits or blackberry-like fruits, except the thimbleberry is kind of a velvety, has kind of a velvety touch to it, and it's a cap like a raspberry. The salmon berry is actually an orange berry that might ripen to kind of an orangey red. We always ate them when they were orange. I never knew that they turned red, but I saw pictures where they did, so I don't know. I've always eaten them orange. They were always kind of sour, so maybe that's why they weren't entirely ripe. I don't know. So anyway, I found somebody who sold some of these. So I was able to get, I think last year I got a salmonberry, and this year I got a salmonberry and a thimbleberry. So those will be great to have in my food forest. So everything else back here I think is stuff that I've shown you before, but I wanted to show you some other things. Around the farm this spring I've been finding all kinds of stuff growing beyond weeds. And so I've been collecting those, and one of them I found out front. And this one at first I thought was a maple tree because we have lots of maples and I've been finding little maple starts, but the leaves didn't look quite right. So I pulled it out of the ground and we did the little plant app ID thing and found out it's actually a gooseberry. So it's going to join my other gooseberry out in the food forest. So I was excited to find that just growing in my front yard. So obviously a bird left it as a present. In here, this was actually the pot for my kangaroo rhubarb. It did not last the winter here. And so that's no longer growing, but you can see two tiny little maple seeds in there have sprouted and giving me little maple trees. I think a silver maple, something like that. In this area right over here there's a lot of rocks, but we get a lot of little maple trees starting. Again, found two of those. And then there's pine trees across the road, and so found two pine trees growing there. And I have never seen, I think it's Arbovita, because we have some of those here, but I've never seen a baby Arbovita before, so I found this growing right over here as well. And then I'm not sure what this one is. It doesn't look like a maple. Could be a dogwood, because we do have a dogwood out front, but I haven't done the plant app on this one, so I don't know what this is. So I found all these little trees. Normally I just kind of pull them out, but this time I decided to keep them because my second son is going to be doing a unit on Japan next year. He's already started learning the language in grade school, but he's going to have that be his language that he needs to learn in high school. And then we're also going to kind of take it further and do a cultural history study of Japan as well. Since bonsai is something that is known for Japan, we decided to try growing bonsai and learning how to take care of it and all that kind of stuff. So we were going to try to, find some seeds to start, or maybe some other seedlings, but I found all these just out here, and so we thought these might be a good thing to start learning bonsai on. So we'll give it a try and see how it goes. If they don't work out, we'll find some other plants to use. But that's about it for this area. I'll take you around and show you some of the other things that we found, some more things that I've bought for the food forest or just for the farm, some of the things we've done, some of the changes that have happened around here, and we'll just have this kind of be an update. And then I also need to get to work doing something on the farm because my list is really long. Right here are some of the extra strawberries from the plants my mom gave us. And you can see they've started growing. There are still some strawberries in here before, but most of these are plants that I added in, and you can see they're growing strawberries, and that one's getting eaten. So is that one. And you can see my asparagus is growing nicely. We've harvested a couple handfuls from it. Now this one here and this one here did not survive, but that one there and then these three here have all produced for us this year, so that's nice. And just over here at the waterfall area, the blooms are just gorgeous right now. The colors, the textures, just beautiful. Here is where we have the bunnies, and I don't know if you can see, there's no bunnies here anymore. One of the big changes we had on here was we sold the bunnies. I absolutely loved them. I loved taking care of them as far as the feeding of them, the watering, the having them around, just their characters. Just loved it. But the Angora breed with their long hair takes a lot more care, a lot more time than I had to invest. Their grooming that is required for their long hair just proved more than I could do. So I found somebody who lives a few hours away, and they were just more than excited to have the bunnies in their care. And they are living now in a big A-frame cage. It's huge, and it's got wiring on the ground so they can't dig out, but they are free to roam and just living the life right now. So they're in a good place, and I'm sad to see them go, but I'm happy that there was somebody who can give them the time that they need. So I still have lots and lots and lots of their rabbit poo though, so that's going in my garden to help fertilize my plants. Right here I'm sitting in front of one of the honeysuckle plants that I have right outside my root cellar here. And there's a plant growing here that I never even noticed until this year, because it's finally sticking out a little ways from the honeysuckle. Normally I would have just thought it's part of the honeysuckle coming out, but I wasn't sure what it was at first. And so we pulled out the whole trusty plant app ID thing and found out that it is a cherry plum. So it's basically kind of an ornamental plum. It does produce fruits that can be up to 2 inches in diameter, I think, or maybe 2 inches in circumference. I don't know how they measured it, but it is mostly just an ornamental, but the fruits it will produce, if it does produce, should be sweet with a little bit of tart. If it's anything like the ornamental plum that my grandparents had, which the leaves look different, the leaves of that tree were darker, but the fruit on that tree had a sweetness to it, with the skin on it was just really tart. But we enjoyed eating those and making jelly or jams out of them as well. So it won't do to have this tree right here, so I'm going to be transplanting that somewhere else. It's one thing on my to-do list. So I need to figure out where I'm going to put that and then get that moved. Well, one big change that won't be happening that I had been wanting to since we moved here is moving the greenhouse that's over there. We were gonna move it right back here. But after doing some measuring, I determined that it was too long this way. It's wide, it'll fit widthwise, but it's just too long to fit where we want it over here. Because of the fig tree right there and the rhubarb plant right there, we'd have to fit the back of the greenhouse, like butt it up right against the rhubarb, have the fig tree inside the greenhouse, which wouldn't be bad, because I have a feeling if I had it inside the greenhouse it might actually produce for me. But then it was too far. It would be running into this tree trunk that you don't see, this tree trunk that's right over here, and so it wasn't gonna work. So I need to either find a different place to put it, or I'm just gonna leave it where it is. And I think for right now I'm just gonna leave it where it is. So I just don't like it there because it hides, or it blocks the view of the pasture and stuff from the picture windows in our house. So it's not a bad thing, I just prefer it to be somewhere else. But you can see here, all these plants right here. These are volunteer sunflower plants. All of it, from there to there, to there, all of this. Lots of sunflower plants. We had a few sunflowers out here last year, and I just left the heads on them, and obviously they reseeded a lot. But I've left them here because I want to make sure to harvest the sunflower heads this year, and we'll use them to feed the chickens and reduce the cost of feeding them. Now out here in the no-till portion of our garden, I found some more trees, which I was quite tickled to find. Because I had let this kind of half of the garden just kind of grow up, and it was filled with all kinds of plants reseeding, like chard and cabbage and weeds. Let's face it, lots of weeds. It just was really overgrown here, and so I didn't really see what all was growing. And so as I started to clear things out this year, I found something that just really tickled me. Right here, excuse me, side on. Right here is a peach tree. And right here had been a second one, but I pulled that one out because I don't want the two peach trees growing that close together. But the previous owners had obviously put some peach pits in some compost, and it ended up in the garden here, and I started growing two new peach trees. So this peach tree is going to stay here, and I'm going to call this the Ruth variety for the lady who lived here before us. The other peach tree will be planted more out in the pasture area, and that will be the Jim variety for the husband who lived here beforehand. So that's just some of the exciting things that I found this spring. So let's go take a look and see what else we have. So right next to the peach tree here, actually all along this row, I've already got the tomato plants that I've started from seed from the plants I got, or the seeds I got from M.I. Gardner. These are the giant crimson that he started, basically brought back from extinction. He found some 87-year-old seeds and brought them back to the point where he can actually start selling seeds for them now. So I have, I think, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yes, 9 plants that I planted here in this garden. And they're growing nicely. We've had a bit of a cold, you know, tomatoes tend to like hotter weather, so they haven't grown a whole lot, but they have grown some. They should start taking off here soon. Not too much new going on with the chickens. But I wanted to take you in here. I had to clean out the chicken coop. It was that time of year, and I actually still have part of that back section over there I need to finish. I've cleaned out this section and this section because I have a broody hen here. She's actually been sitting longer than she needs to. I had to actually put some new eggs under her because none of her eggs were hatching when they should have been. So I put a few more under her so that we'll see how viable they are. They should be another week. If the week goes by and there's still no chicks, then I'm gonna have to break her broodiness. So she does get up though and peck around, scratch around in the hay that's in here. So, and I have another broody hen too. We'll see. She tried earlier this year, but she got off of the nest and that one took over. And so now she's trying again, so we'll see. And I don't know, some of these eggs she may have been laying on, I don't know which ones are new. I think those ones right there are new. I don't know about these. Looks like she's got maybe two sections, but she has them spread out. So I think I'm gonna grab these before she sees them and tries to pull them under her as well. I would like to have some eggs. She can't have them all, can you? You try, but you can't. If you've noticed while I've been out here talking about the chickens and whatnot, you might have noticed that it's a little bit quiet, and maybe you don't hear one of the other animals that we've had around here. Here's some footage that I took a couple weeks ago to explain that. Lately there have been a few changes around here, and I'll go over more of them later, but right now I wanted to get these girls because they're actually leaving today. Their owner has found a place. It's not going to be their homestead necessarily, but it's a place where they can actually have their goats out there with them. So she's coming to pick them up today. So I just wanted to get on here so you guys could have a chance to say goodbye to the goats. So we have one last morning with them before they head out this afternoon. So it's been fun having them here. My friend thought that, you know, after having them here, I'd be completely into goats and want my own, but I have to say that's not the case. I like the goats and I don't mind them, but I really don't want my own. Of course, I'd be glad to have them out here again if it was ever necessary, but I will miss them, I'll say that, but it'll be nice to also not have that responsibility added to each day as well. So shall we go out to pasture one last time, girls? Shall we go out? Okay, let's go. So anyway, goodbye to Chess, Trouble, and Domino. For those wanting an update on the strawberry plants that I planted out here in our field, we actually have some strawberries forming and ripening. Not all of the plants made it, but most of them did, and some of them are flowering and producing berries already. So we got 3 rows. We need to come through and weed in here. That first bed got weeded, but this one and the other one we've weeded on the outside. There was a lot of weeds growing in this area here that we've had to get out, but it's a little harder in the strawberry bed because there's always the hazard of hoeing up the strawberry plants. So I want to try to do it by hand anyway, so there's less chance of hoeing up the plants. But no lavender in yet. Yet one more thing on my to-do list that I need to get done. And hence why we're doing 25 days on the farm. Oh, here's something fun. Here's something fun. We used some of the hay from the goat pen as an underlayer for fertilizer, and I had fed them some squash at some point, and so within that hay that I pulled out, there was obviously a seed, and it has sprouted and will give us some squash. I have no idea what kind, because I gave them some pumpkin, I gave them some other squash as well. So that'll be fun. Back here behind me is some hay, some straw, straw. And fun story about that, I was going to the feed store, I guess, and I needed to get a bale of straw so I could put it in the chicken coop after I cleaned it. That's what I used for the floor covering. And so I was there getting 1 bale of straw. There was a guy ahead of me who was getting 12 bales of straw for a birthday party that they were going to have that next Sunday. And he was in front of me, or standing there getting his hay at the same time, or his straw at the same time, and he's just bemoaning the fact he doesn't know what he's gonna do with 12 bales of straw. He doesn't need it, but the wife wants it for the farm themed party, so gotta have the bales of straw. He doesn't know what he's gonna do with them. So I'm just all like, well, I'll take them. I've got like 5 acres out here with a huge garden. It can definitely be used out here. So I told him that, and he says, no joke? And I said, no joke. So he let me know when they were done with the bales, and we went out with a trailer. We borrowed my stepdad and his trailer, and went out there to pick up the bales. And the guy was just gonna give them to us for free, but I ended up giving him 40 bucks for it. It doesn't cover all of his costs, but it was still a deal for me. So it ended up actually being 16 bales of hay and not just 12. So here I'm in part of the chicken run, and I had this fence up here. I've closed that gate off now so that we can use this area to plant in. My stepmom and my sister have already planted some stuff down there, and I'll be planting stuff over here, and then also back in this green area that has lots of weeds that I need to get rid of still. So I'm also going to be making this area, kind of planting some things that are intended for the chickens, stuff that I can leave in here for them to, you know, have some food into the fall and winter potentially. So I saw this one, I think it's Edible Acres. He has some videos on how what he plants in the chicken coop area to help feed his chickens for no cost or low cost. So I really liked what he was doing, and so I'm going to try to mimic that in my own way, and just get some stuff planted in here so it's not just bare dirt. So that'll be something that I'll be building up here over the summer and into next year. There's the greenhouse where it's gonna stay. Right along this side of the raspberries that I have here, mixed in with catnip, which, by the way, if you want any catnip, I'm going to be selling some in my Etsy store here in a couple weeks once I can get it processed. But along here, actually 2 summers ago when we bought the place, the previous owners had planted potatoes. They harvested them before they left, but they didn't get everything, and so more potatoes grew last year, but I didn't get them all dug up because the potato bugs got to the plants and just decimated them. And you can see, here's one right here. Oops, he fell off, but he's upside down. Let's get him. Oops. I hate these things. They will, ooh, he peed on me. They will destroy your potato plants. So I just take them and toss them in this creek, and they go bother someone else if they don't drown. But so last year, yeah, they really got to the plants, and so I didn't know where the plants were, so I couldn't dig up. Plus, it was so hot last year. I just didn't want to deal with it most of the time. But anyway, so of course, all those potatoes that we didn't harvest last year have grown up again, and so just all the way down where you see the straw, are some potato plants, and I think there's probably some more out in the middle of the weeds. I had to weed all of this area here, and then I put the straw down to just kind of mark where the potatoes are. So I'm excited to have that. It's like free food, so I won't refuse free food. Oh, see there? Those are the eggs that they lay. You just gotta squish those. I've heard ladybugs are an enemy of, or a predator of potato bugs, so I've seen some ladybugs around. I hope that they take care of them. Last year it didn't seem that there were any ladybugs in this portion of the yard to take care of them, but so far so good with the plants. They aren't entirely overwhelmed with bugs yet, so that's hopeful. Hopefully we can keep them off this year as much as possible. Oh, there's another one. Oops, that one didn't quite make it. It's probably gonna find his way back. Oh well. And look at all the blossoms on the raspberries. And the bees are having a heyday here. Some more plants that we've gotten. Actually, these are not just gotten. I've had these. These are the honeyberries. Oh, I forgot to show you over there where I had a honeyberry plant already. I planted 3 of the ones that I've gotten. And then these are the remaining of them. And one of them has died. I didn't get it in the dirt soon enough, but I still have 10, or at least 7 more, and plus the 3 that I planted over there. I just bought today some red onions and some yellow sweet Spanish. And then these are, I've always wanted to give these a try. They're those, the Mexican sour gherkin. They're those little, like watermelon looking, like miniature watermelon looking cucumbers. So I've always kind of wanted to give them a try. And I don't like cucumbers, of course, but we'll let those who do like cucumbers give them a try. And I might also try pickling them and see how they turn out. This right here is the other peach tree that I found in the no-till garden over there. So this is the Jim variety. That'll find its home here in the next few weeks because I need to get these things planted. Over here in these pots are some more plants. They're all the same. Well, I take that back. There's 2 different types of plants here. These are goji berry plants. I bought them off of Etsy, and some of them look kind of wilty, but they're actually all doing pretty well. They have actually perked up from what they were before. But I got these on Etsy. I think I'd have to look who I got them from, but it was a really good deal. She was having a sale, buy 1 plant to get 2 free, I think, so 3 for the price of 1. And so I bought 3, so I would have gotten 9 total, 9 plants total. And she sent me a message and she says, oh, I've included some other things as well, or I've put in your package these things, but she didn't mention the goji berries. And I was all like confused, and I wrote to her and I said, well, I ordered goji berry plants, so I'm not sure what these other things are about. And she says, oh no, these are extra things that she puts in. And 3 of the extra things she put in are 3 little peach starts. So I actually have 3 more in addition to the 2 that I found here. So I'm gonna have a nice supply of peach trees out in the food forest. So that'll be exciting. But anyway, with the goji berries, with each order, it should have been 3, you know, buy 1, get 2 free. But she actually included 3 free. So I ended up with like 12 plants instead of 9. So I'm really excited about that. They'll go out in the food forest and provide some nice berries that have lots of antioxidants and all that jazz. In my last video, you saw that I found some tomato volunteers. The black vernissage came up from seed out in the garden, and you guys, look how big they've grown since I potted them up. They're like so big, and it's time to get them out in the garden, which is one of those things that's on my list to do this month, along with all of these other plants in here. Oh, here's the update on the pots, the kits from Dollar Tree. So the sunflowers are doing well, the basil is good, the tomato plants are doing good, and the daisies. And then look, maybe I already showed you this. I showed you the one, but there's at least 2 more popping up of the strawberries. And then over here, you can just barely see here, the coneflower is starting to grow as well. So that's exciting. If you ever questioned whether or not to get some of these kits from the Dollar Tree, go ahead. With mine, they were all viable. So go for it. I got some more sweet banana peppers because up here, I've had 1 sweet pepper plant come up out of all of these seeds. And then none of my jalapenos and none of my California Wonder plants have come up. Very, very, very sad. But my mortgage lifters and my ox heart paste are good to go. I have 1 eggplant, and then this is, I think, a candy onion. So, anyway, oh, and this right here is a darling pumpkin. So they're kind of a nice little shape. They're smaller pumpkins, like 10 to 12 pounds. But I just really like this shape. Like if you're gonna make jack-o'-lanterns, they just make a really nice shape for that. Gives a nice space for putting faces on or other designs. So that'll go out in our field, which I'll show you in a minute. All these other plants, of course, need to get, ooh, it looks like I need to water those. Need to get outside. Look at this, my ever sweet berries are already producing nice, sweet tasting berries. But anyway, all of these plants need to go out. That's on my to-do list for this month. All of that. I've spent a little bit of time weeding in this area because I have a lot of carrots that came up from seed from last year. So I just kind of weeded out most of this stuff here so that the carrots have room to grow. And you can see I still have much more weeding to do, and this is definitely on our list to do, to clear out, to rototill under, so that I can get more stuff planted in here. Do you see all those piles? Those are piles of goat field hay. Sorry, not goat field, goat poop filled hay from their pen. And then some composted dirt on top of them. And in these 51 piles that we did on, what is today? We did on Sunday, I do believe, no, Monday. We did it on Monday. I have planted about 275 or more squash seeds. So from sugar pie pumpkins to jack-o'-lanterns to honey nut, butternut, and several varieties of winter squash. That's one of the things that we decided to plant this year to start bringing in an income. So we're gonna have the squash. We also bought an incubator, so we're gonna try hatching some eggs out beyond the scope of what our broody hens will possibly do, and have them available to sell as well. And then I'm also going to plant a bunch of pickling cucumbers, yet another thing on my to-do list this month. And then, you know, those will be kind of our income producers for this year. It's not going to be a lot, but it's going to get us out there known in the community for starting to provide some food and some produce, that kind of stuff. So this is what we're going to do for fall income. We have the pickling cucumber for summer, we have the rhubarb right now, and then the chickens. And then for next year, we're actually going to plant a whole bunch of garlic. So lots and lots to do on the farm this year, but especially this month. Please stick around and join us as we work on projects. I'm going to try to post every day except for those 5 that I listed. And it's going to be a challenge to get out and make sure I get a video done and edited and posted each day, but I'm going to try to do it. So anyway, join us on this journey this month and see what all we get done. We'll see ya tomorrow on Wild Woodland Lavender Farm. Oh, before we go, I should show you this. My husband spent some time working on this for us, and I just want to show it off. This is my new compost bin area. One of them. We would like to have probably several around the farm as time goes on, but instead of having that ugly pile over there, which is kind of out of the way and hard to get to, we have a more centralized place to bring all of our weeds and tree cuttings and all that kind of stuff. So let me just show it to you real quick and then you can leave. So we just used pallets, and we have, I think, 3 pallets across the back, and then 1 on each end, and then 1 to make a divider in the center. And then to make it just a little bit bigger and yet feel like it's not going to spill out into, you know, all the way out front here, Brent added a second one coming out. It's a little bit differently shaped than the others, so it's not as wide. And then we added 1 in the front here just to kind of enclose the area but still leave it wide enough open that we can bring in our wagon and just be able to access that without feeling like we're too crowded to get in and out of there. But he kind of added some fun detail. So we've got some of the Russian olive tree trunks from down in our back 40 where we have all those Russian olive weed trees. So he just kind of used them as a means of attaching these together. So, you know, he put a screw here and then that attaches over here. So it adds a nice decorative touch. So, I mean, yeah, they still look like pallets, but it's got this fun little detail of the tree branches, tree trunks, just to give it a little bit of uniqueness, which I really like. It's kind of cool. So anyway, that's all. We'll see you next time. Bye.